Hey, what's up, guys? It's Drew here, quick video blog. I wanted to talk today about President Trump and all this impeachment talk and all these issues and all these allegations and all these things that the Democrats and the left are really trying to do to pin on Trump so that they can push him out of office. Okay, first of all, I want to say to anybody who's watching this, whether you are on the right, the left, or you're on the middle, you're in the middle, what you guys have to understand about this is that on some level, you have to admit to yourself. I mean, just really search deep, look for information, use your intuition. On some level, you have to admit to yourself that this is all because the Democrats and Hillary Clinton and just that whole establishment wants to push Trump out of office. You have to understand that that's what it's about. It's not about the rule of law. It's not about right versus wrong. It's not about any of that. This is about a grab for power. Okay? That's what you have to understand first. Otherwise, everything else that I say is just going to sound like nonsense to you. Okay? If you can't get to the point where you understand and you acknowledge that this is about a grab for power from the Democratic establishment in this country, then this whole entire video is not going to make sense to you. You have to start from that point. This is about a grab for power. This has nothing to do with doing what is righteous. This has nothing to do with doing what is right. This has nothing to do with doing with treason. This has nothing to do with anything except one establishment in this country is trying to grab power from the other establishment in this country. Okay? Now, when you start from that point, you have to then move on to the next point. All right? In our history, in the history of our country, how have previous administrations grabbed power from the other administration that preceded it or the next administration? How has that happened before? How has power been consolidated before? We've had presidents that have been assassinated. We've had presidents that have been attempted assassinations on. We've had peaceful transfers of power. Like the regular progression of things, where they lose the next election that comes up. We've had things like that as well. But if you guys can honestly look at this, situation that's going on right now, and you can honestly say to yourself that this grab for power played by the Democrat establishment in our country, if you think that this grab for power is not going to result in devastating consequences for our country, then I just don't even know what to tell you. Because at the end of the day, it will effectively turn our country into a banana republic. It will. I mean, and some people that are misguided are arguing that, oh, well, Trump won the election through, this collusion and that, so technically we're already there. No, dude. No. I assure you, I'm not some kind of Russian operative. I voted for Trump. I know many people just like me who did vote for Trump. I was at the rallies. I was speaking at them. The videos are up on my channel. Come on, guys. So at the end of the day, if you're a leftist and you're watching this, you may be saying to yourself, oh, bless the day that Trump gets impeached and whatnot. And you may even be celebrating because you think that you've kicked Alex Jones off air, But what I'm trying to tell you guys who are liberals and who are on the left side of this is that these are not wins. These are what are called Pyrrhic victories or Pyrrhic victories. These are victories where the cost is way too great. It's so great that it's almost so damaging that it outweighs what you think you're winning. When you take the conversation to a point where any incoming president can be unseated by a group or by a group of rogue conspiracy type of people like the Mueller gang and all these people that are digging into his associates, digging into his people, not necessarily to find anything on him, but to get them to lie about him so that they can impeach him and possibly throw him in jail. When you have that going on, you don't understand what you've set up in this country. You don't understand what you've started, because now once you cross that line, now the other side is tempted to play by those rules. And then further down further down the hill we go. Okay, you're effectively turning this country into an extremely divided country where people will justify. What's going to okay, so if you even if you get your way, right? Let's say you get your way. What's going to stop the next president? What's going to stop the next administration, the next incoming administration, from doing something even worse to take out your guy? You see, the problem with leftists is that you guys really believe that once you move the line to a certain degree, you think you own that territory. You don't. You don't have a monopoly on violence. You don't have a monopoly on the seat of the presidency. You don't have a monopoly on communications and free speech. You don't have a monopoly on these things. You may think you're getting somewhere by censoring your adversaries and your opposition. You may think you're getting somewhere by being violent against your adversaries and your opposition. You may think that you're getting somewhere by trying to illegally push a sitting president out of power. But you're not. You're putting yourself in a position where now the line has been moved, and now it's now acceptable for the same thing to happen to you. The energy that you guys are putting out there is only inviting it back into yourselves. I don't think you're going to be successful, but my point in this video is that you guys need to think about what would happen if you were successful. What would happen if you were successful? What would it mean for this country? That's what you guys need to think about. Okay? It's neither here nor there. Now, I feel like, honestly, at the pinnacle of power, like whether you're a Clinton or whether you're whether you're powerful because of politics or whether you're powerful because of, being a billionaire, I feel like at the pinnacle of those levels of power, things become so difficult to organize and to manage, and they become so complicated that, in this society of laws, rules, and regulations, it's very difficult to come out of that spotless, come out of that without somebody who felt wronged, without a body of government that felt underpaid or underserved, or without a body of people that just don't. It's very difficult to come out of that spotless. So when people pick apart Trump, I simply say, if you take any billionaire, and you put the microscope on them, and you put the microscope on their business practices, and then you could find anybody guilty. There's a saying, find me the person, and I'll give you the crime. It's so much so to the point, like, anybody can be made or found guilty of something. There's so many things that Obama did that he could be found guilty of, dude. I mean, when he was president. For you guys as liberals to sit here, I mean, I like Trump, right? And I'm a Trump supporter. But I admit to myself that on some level that he has operated business and he is in politics at such a level that it's impossible for him to not be guilty of something. You know what I mean? But it's the same thing with Obama. It's the same thing with every other president before. It's just a responsibility that comes with being in that position. So if you're honestly looking at Obama and saying that, oh, Obama is spotless and Trump is not. Obama was not spotless at all. Do you know how many things that guy was implicated in? The Fast and Furious, the gun running scandal, the $400 million payment to Iran. I mean, the drone bombing of the war crimes, and he still received the Nobel Peace Prize for it. So my point is not to say that everything Trump does must be judged by Obama or must be judged by previous presidents. But at the same time, we're talking about politicians here. We're talking about politics. We're talking about leaders of the free world. Okay? So if you want to justify pushing this guy out of office, it has to be a really, really, really big justification. You can't just say that you don't like the guy, so all of a sudden you're going to push him out of office. Because even if you succeed, now you've moved the bar to a different level. And now any incoming administration that has seen that happen will now do things to limit the ability for their adversaries to push them out of office. And when that happens, you're going to find yourself before long living in a totalitarian state, in a dictatorship, where not only the media that you've pushed now shuts people down for having alternative thought, but also the government that you've put in place is now fully protected from the impeachment proceedings because you took advantage of it when you pushed, or you tried to push, Trump out of office. You guys understand, like, the problem that I have with liberals is not that they're self-destructive. If people are self-destructive, let them be self-destructive. The problem that I have with liberals is that they're self-destructive and they want to bring everybody with them. That's the problem. It's like they're self-destructive and everybody gets, they don't implode, they explode. And everybody else gets caught in the blast radius. And everybody else goes down with them. That's the problem. The path that we're heading down on in this country is very dangerous. Okay? You got censorship going on. You're trying to push out a legally and democratically elected president. You know, you've got all these things going on that really viciously and seriously and critically threaten the fabric of what it means to, you know, to be an American in our society. You've got all these are not necessarily joking matters, and there's a lot of liberals that are not part of the establishment, not part of the elite, that look at this stuff and they find it funny and they think it's like they think it's something like, oh, my team won, your team lost. No, it's to the point where even if you win, you still lose. You still lose. Even if you win, you still lose. Okay? You still lose. I'm not even talking about the economy, but backsliding. I'm not talking about that. I feel like that's a given. I feel like that's going to happen. I feel like that would happen. That would definitely happen. But that's just like a secondary thing. I'm talking about the entire country backsliding. Okay? I'm talking about there's some of you liberals out there that really believe that if Trump were to get pushed out of office, you could install Hillary Clinton as president. It's 2018. It's 2 years after the elections, and you guys are still you're still foaming at the mouth about this whole entire thing. Still praying for the day that Trump gets pushed out of office. I'm telling you simply that even if you guys get what you want, even if you guys get what you want, it's going to end up being to your own detriment anyway. It's not just about getting what you want. It's about how you get what you want and what you're doing to get what you want. You're setting standards and you're setting precedents that can be one day used against you. And not just used against you, but used against the entire totality of the American people, everybody. You know, the problem is that, you know, you guys are going based on your feelings and you're not thinking. At the end of the day, though, you know, you guys are gonna you're gonna self-destruct. You're gonna self-destruct, and I just don't want to go down with you guys. You know. So anyway, if you're watching this video, you have any thoughts, leave some comments below. Peace.